Hello everyone, my name is Patcha and welcome back to another episode of Raven Creek and the first episode of our new Barnyard Animal Pack section here in our little zoo. And yeah, what you can expect in this video is the construction of the entrance gate of this new area, which we are doing right now already in the background. We will, as you saw from the thumbnail and the intro, we will build exhibit or a habitat for the, I think, tamworth pig. I hope that this was the right one. I always confuse it. All the subspecies and breeds, they're confused. But I think it's a tamworth pig. So we will building a pig enclosure as our first habitat in our petting zoo area of Raven Creek. We will also construct the indoor area for the pigs, the backstage area, which will be accessible for guests so they can see the pigs when they are not outside. And while we are all doing that here in the speed build, we will of course also talk a little bit about my plans and ideas for this area and what you can expect in the coming weeks and possible months, depending on how much time it needs. So yeah, stay tuned for this little speed build. And if you also want to do, you can also skip to the end for the showcase. But as I said, I'm talking about everything that I planned for this area and also some stuff that I'm doing here in the background while we watch the speed build. So, as I said, we are building a new area for Planet Zoo. No, for Raven Creek, of course, and this will be the petting zoo area. Named, as I think you will see later also in the video, the name will be Raven Ranch. It's a little bit of a sheep name, so to say, because of course we have Raven Creek and it's a ranch, but I think it would be funny, and since this is more of a area focused on children and it's for children and younger guests, I think funny or a more cheaper name would be, I think, fitting for this area. But if you have better ideas what I could name this area, of course, leave me a comment down in the comments and tell me what your idea would be, what this place would be called. The gate we are now building here in the background is, I think, a very classical gate that you see when you look up North American or American farms, North American ranches. You always have these wood pillars with an additional wood pillar on top across that, and then some sort of sign or inscription in the wood pillar or below that telling you what property this is, what the ranch is called. So I went with this very classical design here because to evoke this idea of that this being a ranch, this being a barnyard area where you can expect to see domesticated animals, because of course this is the focus or the idea behind this area, that you can see domesticated animals and you can also interact with them. For example, with the pigs that we will build later after this entrance, they have a little bit of a water pump feature where the guests can pump the water for the pigs to drink. So we will have their actual drinking bowl, drinking trough below that water pump that came with this DLC. Actually, it's not functional, sadly, but it still looks amazing. So the guests can pump the water for the pigs. I had this idea from my own local little animal park, little zoo that I'm living close by, and they have a similar feature for their domesticated barnyard animal section over there, where you can pump water for the animals so that they can drink. Of course, it's just a fun activity for the kids to interact, to do something mechanical, to use their strength and their power to do something good for the animals. And the animals, of course, also enjoy it on a hot day if they get additional water. And the water then, of course, most likely gets recycled through a system of drainages and then can be reused after it's cleaned and filtered and stuff like that. As I said, we will focus on barnyard animals, or we will focus on domesticated animals in this area. That means all the animals from the Barnyard Animal Pack, except the Highland cow, because you already built for that Highland cow, and you can look it up and watch the episode where we built for them. Right now, I will try to remember to leave a link to that video up in the right hand corner, and you can also download that building that we did there, this Scottish cottage. You can download that from the workshop and use it in your own zoos if you want. And we will also not build for the alpaca, not because I don't like them, I love alpacas, but because I will move them most likely. Okay, plans can change, but for now the idea or the plan is to move them to the South American area, which is not far away from this area. Actually, it's right behind it. To give you an idea where we are, and this is right now behind the pigs. Here, here in the background is the Wiesent enclosure. So this is our river water section of the zoo with the beavers and wolverines and boars. And if you go another direction, you come up at a bit of a hill, and then down there is the South American enclosure. Now we are, as I said, we are building this water pump over here, which I would love to have if it would be functional, or I would leave some interaction maybe from the guests, or as an scenery, an enrichment piece for the animals or for the keepers. But sadly, it looks good, and that I think is everything we need for that. But yeah, as all the animals we build for will be, of course, the Tamworth pig, the Sussex chicken, the American donkey, the Redner sheep, I think it's called, and I think that was everything. No, the goats, the alpine goats, of course. And I have a really cool idea for the alpine goats, but we will go over that once we get to this episode. And another feature that will be the center point of this area will be a big American-style barn. You probably have already seen thousands of them on the workshop or in real life. These typically red-colored barns with white roofs that are synonymous with American farms, with American ranches, and we will also have that, and that will act as kind of a centerpiece. You saw maybe in the background these blue lines in the background. This will be where the farm will be, and all of the other animals, except the pigs, of course, will have their indoor area in that farm. And additionally, this farm will be an area where the guests can walk in, so they can see the animals if they are indoors. And then there will also stuff like a bit of education, maybe some stuff the kids can play with and learn about domesticated animals and learn about domestication, of course. All that kind of stuff that would be in that barn, and it will on this loop, kind of, because the whole path layout is already done and formed a kind of a loop. The barn will be the main part of it. And what also we want to do, or what I want to do, is building kind of like a garden or a farming area where kids can learn about domesticated plants. We have now a couple of them in game. We have here maize with the last update. We have tomato plants. We have sunflowers. We have, I think, the turnips and leek and stuff like that. So a little bit like a little garden for the zoo. Nothing where we would, maybe we could also grow food for animals there, but it's mainly for educational purposes, for recreational purposes. I'm also thinking maybe about a maze labyrinth. I don't know, it's called a corn maze. I think it's called corn maze. Something very synonymous with American areas, because they love their corn, and so they make corn mazes. But I think maybe I could also incorporate that into that area, and then also a small food court, most likely with some local stuff, maybe a little bakery, a coffee shop, and some organic grown foods there. Nothing really fast food and artificial stuff, only homegrown food basically. This, I think, was my idea, and someone suggested, I think it was Digital Blob, shout out to him, wonderful creator, also on YouTube and on Twitch. But in my last live stream I think Friday or 2 weeks ago, he suggested also a butterfly area in that part, and I like that idea. And if I can incorporate maybe the butterfly area or the butterfly exhibit into this farmland, into this garden area, that would be really cool. But I have to see if everything fits together, if how everything works out, and we will see when the time comes to that. And speaking of live streams, while we are now building the shelter for the pigs, as I said, I'm streaming every Friday on 9 p.m. Central European Time. I'm streaming live on Twitch, and at the moment we are rebuilding actually the car park of Raven Creek. So if you want to see how this evolves, because we now have a more clear plan how to lay out the car park of the zoo, yeah, this Friday again we will be live on Twitch, and then you can follow us, you can chat with us, you can share your ideas, you can ask for tips and tricks in this game. I'm happy to share them with. Also, we have always a really fun time over there. But yeah, we are building now the shed for the pigs, and I really want to make this look really simple in a way. So we're using a lot of wood pieces here. We're using a lot of the conservation wood pieces, because they have this very newish wood feel to it. I don't know if you know what I mean, but if you have new wood, it is very bright, it is very clean, it is freshly cut into pieces and stuff like that. And this is what I get from these conservation conservation pack pieces, that they are represent freshly cut wood. And I wanted to make this shed feel like it was recently built. It's not an old thing, and so it was recently built. The wood is still fresh. It still looks clean and stuff like that, despite having pigs inside. But this was basically the idea behind this shed, and I tried to follow this idea of this style throughout the whole barnyard section. So the whole barnyard section itself is a new area in this zoo. I mean, we have a lot of new areas. Also, the South American area was, I think, a new area once before I finished it. But yeah, anyway. So this is basically like a new section of the zoo. I don't know what was before here. Maybe you have an idea of lore-wise what could have been in this place before. Maybe if there even was something before. Maybe it was just rural land, and they recently developed it, and now they are focusing on barnyard animals. And speaking of barnyard animals, I know some people are not really happy about them and don't see why we should have them in Planet Zoo. And some additional words, I think I already talked a little bit about it in my review of this pack, as well as in the Highland Cattle video. So excuse me if I'm saying the same things twice, but barnyards are at least in Europe to an extent, are an essential part, as in my opinion, for zoos. And we should teach children what barnyards are, what domesticated animals are, how animals get domesticated, because with the urbanization and with more and more families moving to the big cities, and this is not a recent trend, it happens I think at least 50 years, more and more children don't know anything anymore about barnyards, about farms, about ranches, about domesticated animals. They see them maybe in a coloring book, they see them in a documentary or in a movie, and maybe once when they go to a farm to buy some stuff, or just for an animal, for a family adventure, stuff like that. But they don't really know what a farm is anymore. At least that's my feeling, if they don't grow up in a village or stuff like that. So it is important to teach children about our life with animals, how our life partially depends on domesticated animals, on raising them, on caring for them, and of course using their products and their what they produce for us: meat, milk, wool, eggs, and all that kind of stuff. And so that kids are not thinking these things, these products, this food would be their old way, that it comes naturally, that there's no work behind it, no lives behind it. We need to teach children. I think that's what I want to say, is that they are animals that are responsible for these things, and that we should be thankful that we have these animals, and that we maybe also should treat them better than we are currently doing with these massive farms and really partially horrible living conditions that we treat these animals in, just to get the maximum out of their lives, basically of their meat and of their eggs and of their wool and stuff like that. So teaching kids about farm animals, also about rare breeds that are maybe not the best producer of meat and milk and stuff like that, but who are bred because they look good, because they were desired back in the day, can teach children about the importance of these animals, and that we should also treat them with respect, that we should be thankful that we have them, and about the millions and millions of years, not millions, but thousands of years, we had to put work in it to domesticate these animals, that they were not there for always, because but that we had to selectively breed them, that we had to care for them, and that they are as much as a part of human history as every human is on this earth. So that's why, in my opinion, because I'm also a history teacher, that's probably why where I come from with this history idea, is why I think barnyard animals or barnyard areas are an essential part of every zoo, and that's why I'm also happy that we got this pack and that we didn't got the standard goat, standard chicken, standard pig species that is the most common now at the at the international market, but we got some rare breeds. And two of these breeds, I think the hill red nose sheep and the tamworth pig, are actually facing a little bit of extinction. They are endangered, when you can talk about endangerment for domesticated animals, because their breeds are not really kept anymore, and so the remaining amount of animals that we have for them are getting smaller and smaller, and if we don't conserve them, then these breeds will also die out. And I think this is almost similar to a wild animal species dying out, because then they don't exist anymore. They're just living beings. They have as much a right to live as we have, and I think we should try to protect them. I don't know, maybe on barnyards, on farms that specialize on rare breeds, or also in zoos, which I think is a very cool thing to also care for domesticated animals that will die out if not cared for. But we are finishing now up the barn with some coloring, with some different little bits and things here, with doors, windows, and all that kind of stuff, and then we will move over to the habitat itself. Of course, we will keep it very muddy. It's a pig enclosure. They don't care about plants really. They uproot anything that they have in their way to find food. We will have a tree in here with some tree protection so they don't destroy it as well, but in general this whole exhibit will be very muddy, and just some pieces of grass stick out here and there. And I think I will also leave you with that rest of the speed build, just with some music and no commentary anymore. And then I will see you all at the end in the real-time part, where we look at the finished product, or the finished build in its totality. And until then, enjoy the music of Planet Zoo, enjoy the rest of the speed build, and I see you at the end. Okay, and with that, the speed build is already over, and we are here in the real-time part to look at everything that we've done so far in the video. And as I said, we are basically at the end of our river section. This is the beaver habitat, and over there we have the wisents, as you can see, kind of can see here in the background. And now we have this big plaza over here, which will not only connect our new Raven Ranch, our river section, but also our mountain area that is yet to come, and that will kind of be maybe also the last part or the last big section of the zoo. We have to see how it works. Also, Mr. Moose is over here, and back there are grizzlies, just for you to know where we are in the world. But yeah, let's go into the Raven Ranch. Of course, it's still empty at this point. Nothing much there apart from the pig stable, which we can also see from outside here. So even if you're not inside, you can already get a glimpse at the pigs. You cannot, of course, not touch them or interact with them, but you can still see them. And we also have, of course, some waypoints over here, over there to the Inca Trail, which is back there, the Cypress March, our wetlands area, Tillamook Track, our forest area, and of course entrance and exit. But yeah, let's go under this archway. I really love all the little details, all the little bolts and screws over here that hold the wood together. I think makes it a little bit more believable than just having the wood stacked into each other. Yeah, these little screws and bolts that fix them. I think that is a nice touch and idea. And also we have of course a message on the other side with "See you again soon." We of course have to interact with our little guests in the zoo a little bit more and hope that they will return. Yeah, but yeah, as I said, nothing much here at the moment. This will be where the barn will be. So we only have our pig stable here and some nice plants using the new, I think these are the tractor tires, but you can also really easily use them as a planter if you just put them in a mulch piece and then just some flowers. But yeah, we can I think clean our hands here. I don't know what the English word for that is. Desensitize, disinfect our hands here, because it's a very low fence actually. So if you are lucky and if the pig want to, you can pet them, you can interact with them. And I think I will also at some point add a feeder or a station where you can buy animal food over here at some point. So you can even buy some animal food and then feed the animals, because this is an interactive area of the zoo, and we want to let our guests interact with the animals, as I said. And also that means also we have the water pump over here, so we would pump the water, this would fill, and the animals then could enjoy the water, which I think is a very nice idea. Of course, yeah, the info signs, still the in-game ones. I still have a long list of info signs and that I need to update and that I need to make. But if we come around here, we have another entrance. Before we go over there, we have another entrance. This is basically on the other side of the Wiesens. Over here, you have another entrance to the Raven Ranch. If you don't want to join there, you can first go here and then come in here. And then when you go on this side, your first will be this little hut barn. I think with a nice little picture of the pig and a piglet and a butterfly, because I found that would be cute, and I think going for more of cute concept for this area I think fits the idea. And yeah, then we have this little simple indoor area where you can also see the pigs and maybe even pet them if they want to be petted. We have some water trunks, water feeders over here. I forgot the word for a moment. We have some feeders over here, some water troughs. Of course, that is the word over here. So they have some food and some water, even if they are not outside, or if it's too cold outside and they can't be let outside. And then just some tools, some buckets, some crates for maintenance work, if the keepers have to feed and clean and stuff like that. And also, of course, on both sides we have gates, so the keepers can go inside this little pen, and then you can also look outside and see the Wiesens from here. But yeah, this is really much it. It seems, really not more. Was a lot of work, especially the building with all the little details. But in the end, it's really just the gate and the pig enclosure. Next week, probably we will have a little bit more to show when we are working on the barn. Actually, yeah, next week we will try to start or finish the barn, and maybe also building for another animal for this area that will call the barn its home. So yeah, that was it basically for this week, and I hope you enjoyed it. If so, maybe leave a like down below under the video, and maybe if you even haven't already, maybe consider subscribing. We are close to 1,500 subscribers, so every one of you counts, and every new subscriber helps me reach this goal. So as I said, next week we will go over to the barn and the animals that live there, and until then I hope you had a great time. You stay safe, and then I see you the next week, and all I have to say is bye bye everyone.